Hey everybody, welcome back around the Blog and Grill. I am your host, Doug, here with your video blog for November 13th, 2013. I got a great blog planned for you for sure. I'm going to go inside the hot free agent out of Japan, Masahiro Tanaka, break down his numbers for you, give you a little look at his scouting report. I got the Heisman top 3, my Week 10 awards from the NFL, but first I want to start off with the great night of college hoops that we had last night, as we saw a lot of good lottery players in action last night. We had number 1 versus number 2, number 4 versus number 5, and also we had Syracuse taking on Fordham. And I think last night we probably saw the top 4 picks in college basketball. I think C.J. Fair is probably the 4th best NBA prospect. I kind of compare him to a Josh Smith with some better shooting. Then we also saw Jabari Park. We also saw Parker out of Duke. Jabari Parker, very impressive young man to watch play the game. We also saw Julius Randle, the big guy out of Kentucky, and we saw Andrew Wiggins, the highly touted freshman for Kansas. It was just a great night of college basketball, and really I think when you break down the numbers, I think the guy that right now is the best and will be the best is Jabari Parker. He's just a big guy, a big 6'8", 235 body, just an NBA-ready player. And last night he had 27 points, 9 rebounds. Very good game for him. We saw Wiggins drop 22, and I think he had 6 rebounds. And then Randall in the other game had 27. We saw Kansas really play well. Perry Ellis, very impressive player. And I think one thing has to be looked at is now that they have the new hand-checking rules put in, I think they're going to have to increase the fouls to 6. Just people come to watch these guys play. Wiggins got 2 fouls early, then picked up a 3rd early in the second half. He had to sit out quite a bit of the game, and he still made some big plays down the stretch, finished with 22, and really got Kansas over the hump in that very fun night of basketball to watch in Chicago for sure, with 3 of the best players in college basketball going at it last night. And there'll be a lot of good college hoops games to follow for sure. Alright, so time for my Week 10 NFL awards. First off, I want to say my Fantasy Player of the Week has to be Demaryius Thomas, 35 fantasy points. He led the league in fantasy points this week. Offensive Player of the Week is going to go to Drew Brees. He threw for 392 yards and 4 touchdowns in the Saints win over the Dallas Cowboys, 49-17. And my Defensive Player of the Week is going to go to Robert Quinn, the defensive end for the St. Louis Rams. He had 2 sacks and a forced fumble in the 38-8 win over the Indianapolis Colts. So that's my fantasy player, or that's my Week 10 awards for the week. And now it's time to get into the Heisman Race, the most exciting, I think, Heisman Race that we've seen in quite a while. One player I think right now, if he didn't win it last year, would have it locked up right now. Johnny Manziel is just putting up ridiculous numbers. He's 8-2 because his team can't play defense. But Johnny Manziel on the year, 3,313 passing yards. He's also ran for 611, so he's right around 4,000 total yards. He has 31 passing touchdowns. He has 11 interceptions, and he has also run for 8 touchdowns. So he's accounted for 39 total touchdowns. My number 2 guy I still think is Jameis Winston. 2,661 for his passing yards, 226 touchdowns, 7 picks, and he's ran for 3, so he's accounted for 29 touchdowns. And another guy that's accounted for 29 total touchdowns is going to be Bryce Petty out of Baylor, 21 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's also ran for 8 scores, so very impressive numbers by him as well. And I think it's going to come right down to it. I think Bryce Petty right now has the best chance of playing into a Heisman spot. Jameis Winston doesn't play a lot of good teams down the stretch. He's going to put up ridiculous numbers anyways. So we'll see what happens. I think these will be your 3 Heisman finalists for sure. I think Marcus Mariota played himself out of it with his very poor performance against the Stanford Cardinals. And we'll see what happens going down the stretch. It's going to be an exciting Heisman race, and we'll have a lot to talk about with the Heisman race as it goes down the stretch. All right, baseball free agency is completely underway now. We've only really had one big signing, Marlon Byrd to the Phillies for 2 years. But right now I want to go inside a scouting report, and I want to break down the 25-year-old right-handed pitcher Masahiro Tanaka out of Japan. This year he was 24-0 with a 1.2 ERA. In his career in the Japanese league, he's 99-35, 2.30 ERA with 1,288 strikeouts, and he's a 5-time All-Star. When I was watching some video of him, I really think he looks like Daisuke Matsuzaka, has a similar windup to Daisuke. The only thing different about him and Daisuke is he kind of drops down and has a low three-quarter arm angle that he throws the ball at. When you get into his pitches, not great fastball velocity. I mean, he's been clocked as low as 84 with his fastball, up as high as 94. I think the issue with his fastball is he's got to work on this location with that. He likes to throw his fastball up in the zone, and if you throw a 94-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone in the States, you'll get it hit out every time. He has a nasty slider if he works it low in the zone. He does have, a frequent theme I'm seeing here is he likes to throw his balls up in the zone. He's got to work on getting those lower. Probably one of his top pitches has to be his above-average two-seam fastball. He can run his two-seam fastball in on lefties. He runs it away from righties, so he's very impressive with that. When you get to his secondary and tertiary pitches, he has a Kuroda-like splitter, the splitter that breaks down in a way, works as a kind of a power fastball, power sinker kind of deal. Throws it hard. He uses a cutter somewhat, not as much as he wants to. He might work the cutter more, and he's really worked on a kind of just a straight curveball. He's trying to implement them a little more. I think he can get it done at the big league level. I think we could see him. I think he'll be better than a Daisuke, probably similar to a Kuroda, maybe with more strikeouts. It'll be exciting to see what he has. Get on YouTube, watch some video of him. He's an exciting guy to watch for sure. Young guy. I think he can get it done here, and it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I'm hearing right now the top 3 places are probably LA, New York, or Chicago, so we'll see what happens going down the stretch as the bids will be put in. Alright, so Friday I'll be back with my Friday football pick'em for you. I'll also talk NASCAR as NASCAR finishes up this weekend. We'll go inside some more MLB free agency. We'll talk some NBA as well, and I'll do a little college basketball too, as we have some big games coming up this weekend. Thanks for tuning in to the Blog and Grill. I will be back on Friday. Have a good rest of the week. Remember to follow me on Twitter, YankeeBaller415. Comment, questions, subscribe to my page. I will see you on Friday. Have a good rest of the week.